Good morning, all students. I'm going to start the lecture on photosynthesis. Okay. Today, our lecture will cover photosynthesis. Okay. Am I audible so that I can start the lecture? Am I audible? Okay. So I'm going to start the lecture of the by photosynthesis by introductory video of the photosynthesis. Okay. This video is by Frank Giorgio. Okay, who has made this video, one of the more informative video and a very short video on photosynthesis. And it is electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, which contains gamma rays, X rays, UV light, infrared regions, as well as visible region, as well as radio waves. Okay, we'll go through this in more detail later on. Okay, as I told you earlier, this is a video by Gregor educational program. Okay, it was made by him. Now moving further, this is a video of a photosynthesis in more detail. Okay, by viewing this video, you will get an idea how photosynthesis process occurs. Okay, this is a video by HHMI Biointeractive. Okay. Okay, I'm going to start the video. And one thing more, if you want more resources regarding photosynthesis, you can also visit this website. Okay, and it contains various other resources also regarding Vygotsky column and various other pathogens also. Okay, if you are interested, you can visit this website, and all the contents of the website are very good and used by various organizations also for the purpose of teaching also.
Almost all life on Earth is solar powered. Plants, algae, and some bacteria capture light energy from the sun and convert it to chemical energy in a series of reactions called photosynthesis. These organisms produce carbohydrates from simple building blocks like water and carbon dioxide from the environment, and in the process, they release oxygen. Photosynthesis nourishes almost the entire living world. Photosynthesis is a set of chemical reactions in which light energy is converted to chemical energy. Light energy enables the movement of electrons from molecules that donate electrons to molecules that accept electrons. But which molecules? Water is the first electron donor. The carbon in carbon dioxide is the ultimate electron acceptor. Carbon dioxide combines with other molecules to form carbohydrates, such as a 3-carbon sugar called G3P. Carbohydrates are used to make other organic molecules that plants use to grow and as a source of energy to fuel their lives. An important byproduct of photosynthesis is oxygen. We're going to zoom in on a cross-section of a leaf to have a closer look at the center of action for photosynthesis. A leaf has many different types of cells, such as mesophyll cells, epidermal cells, and vascular bundles. Most cells in the middle of a leaf contain large numbers of chloroplasts. Pigments in chloroplasts make these cells green. Chloroplasts are the organelles where photosynthesis occurs. Carbon dioxide from the air enters a leaf through small pores called stomata on the outer cell layer. Oxygen formed during photosynthesis also exits the plant through the stomata. The plant transports organic molecules produced in its leaf cells to other cells via the plumbing system, found in vascular bundles. Let's take a closer look at a chloroplast, the organelle where photosynthesis takes place. Photosynthesis consists of 2 sets of chemical reactions, the light reactions and the Calvin cycle. They occur in different regions of the chloroplasts. Chloroplasts contain stacks of membrane-lined discs called thylakoids, surrounded by a watery clear fluid called stroma. The light reactions are carried out by molecules in the thylakoid membranes, and the Calvin cycle reactions by molecules in the stroma. Let's explore these regions and their functions in more detail. In the thylakoid membranes, the light reactions transform light energy to chemical energy. Light energy drives the formation of ATP molecules from ADP and of NADPH molecules from NADP+ and electrons. Along the way, water molecules are split and oxygen is formed, which can be released into the atmosphere. In the stroma, the Calvin cycle reactions use the chemical energy of ATP and NADPH to combine carbon dioxide from the air with organic molecules to form new molecules like the sugar G3P. ADP and NADP+ are recycled and may be used again in the light reactions. A plant increases its biomass through the formation of these new organic molecules. The thylakoid membranes contain specialized molecules that work together to perform the light reactions. Light is absorbed by protein pigment complexes called photosystems. There are two photosystems, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. The photosystems transform light energy to chemical energy by exciting and then shuttling electrons from molecule to molecule in a chain-like fashion on the thylakoid membrane. This process is called an electron transport chain. Let's take a closer look to see how this process works. First, photons of light hit chlorophyll, a light-absorbing pigment in photosystem 2. Electrons in the chlorophyll are excited to a higher energy level. The excited electrons are passed to an electron carrier. Meanwhile, water splits and releases electrons. These electrons replace those lost at photosystem 2. The byproduct of this reaction is oxygen, which is eventually released into the air. The other products are protons, or hydrogen ions, which are released into the inside of the thylakoid, or lumen. The excited electrons move to the cytochrome complex. Some of the energy from the electrons is used by the cytochrome complex to transport additional protons into the lumen. The second electron carrier, a protein inside the lumen, receives the electrons and passes them to photosystem 1. These electrons have now lost most of the energy they gained from light in photosystem 2. Photons of light hit chlorophyll in photosystem 1 and excite the electrons again. The electrons are then passed to the third electron carrier. Finally, these electrons are either recycled or they interact with an enzyme and NADP+, the final electron acceptor of the light reactions, to form NADPH. Some of the energy from light is now stored in the reduced molecule NADPH. Some of the energy released from the transfer of electrons established a proton gradient across the thylakoid membrane. Protons that accumulated in the lumen diffuse into the stroma through an enzyme called ATP synthase. ATP synthase uses the potential energy of the proton gradient to combine ADP with inorganic phosphate to form ATP. In this way, the potential energy is transformed into chemical energy stored as ATP. ATP and NADPH now have stored energy from the light reactions. This energy can be used in the Calvin cycle. This light-driven electron transport chain is usually continuous in the presence of sunlight. It encompasses a series of chemical reactions that involve light absorption, energy conversion, and electron transfer carried out by the photosystems and other enzymes on the membrane of the thylakoids. The Calvin cycle takes place in the chloroplast stroma, the watery clear fluid surrounding the thylakoids. It's helpful to think of the Calvin cycle in 3 phases: fixation, reduction, and regeneration. In phase 1, inorganic carbon, in the form of carbon dioxide from the air, is incorporated into organic molecules, a process known as carbon fixation. 3 molecules of carbon dioxide react with 3 molecules of ribulose bisphosphate, RUBP, to produce 6 molecules of a 3-carbon molecule called 3-PGA. The enzyme Rubisco catalyzes this reaction. In the second phase, the organic molecules accept electrons, a process known as reduction. The 6 molecules of 3-PGA use 6 molecules of ATP and 6 molecules of NADPH, which store energy from the light reactions, to generate 6 molecules of G3P. The G3P molecules contain more electrons and are higher in potential energy than 3-PGA. 1 molecule of G3P exits the cycle. It can be used to make other organic molecules. In phase 3, the regeneration phase, a large set of reactions use the other 5 molecules of G3P and energy from 3 molecules of ATP to produce 3 molecules of RUBP. With RUBP reformed, the process can start again. Notice that in the Calvin cycle, the energy from ATP and NADPH produced in the light reactions is used to generate 1 G3P molecule from 3 carbon dioxide molecules. In this process, the electrons lost from NADPH are accepted by the carbons from carbon dioxide molecules, which are the ultimate electron acceptors of photosynthesis. G3P, the net product from the Calvin cycle, can be used to generate other organic molecules, such as sucrose or starch. Sucrose, produced by leaf cells, is transported through the vascular bundles to other parts of the plant, like stems and roots. Leaf cells can also sometimes form starch for long-term energy storage. Overall, the molecules generated by photosynthesis provide fuel and building materials that allow a plant to grow. Globally, photosynthesis produces an estimated 150 billion metric tons of carbohydrate per year and is responsible for the oxygen in our atmosphere, making it one of the most important chemical processes for life on Earth.
Okay, now moving forward with photosynthesis. Okay, I hope you all have seen the video too. Okay, so basically photosynthesis, it's a process to trap the energy of the light and use it to build carbohydrates. Okay, and use it to build carbohydrates. The image shown here is the image of a leaf cells, where you can clearly see the cells are packed with the chloroplast. Okay, now moving forward, so simply taking in accordance with the past of the earth, where primordial earth had a reducing atmosphere that contained very low amount of oxygen, only about 2%. Okay, only about 2%. And the cyanobacteria, which were basically prokaryotes containing chlorophyll, first performed photosynthesis about 2.5 billion years ago. About 2.5 billion years ago. Okay, and the photosynthesis creates oxygen gas as a byproduct by the photolysis of the water, and the oxygen levels remained at about 2%, until about 750 million years ago. From 750 million years ago until now, there has been significant rise in the levels of oxygen to about 20%. to about 20%. And oxygen generation also allowed the formation of the ozone layer. Okay, also allowed the formation of the ozone layer, and the ozone layer shielded the earth from damaging levels of UV radiation. This in turn led to the evolution of a wider range of organisms, and iron compounds in the oceans were also oxidized in the process, and the insoluble iron oxides precipitated on the seabed, and time and further sedimentation has produced rocks with layers rich in iron or called the banded iron formations, called as banded iron formation. So, which the processes of photosynthesis which I am going to discuss is basically a generalized photosynthesis, and the second one is the bacterial photosynthesis. I hope I can complete only generalized photosynthesis today. Let's see how much can I complete photosynthesis. Okay, bacterial photosynthesis will be only for TY students. If some second year students want to join, they are free to join the lecture. Okay, so starting with the photosynthesis, all the plants are photosynthetic autotrophs. S are some bacteria as well as protists. And as you all know, autotrophs have the ability to generate their own organic matter through the photosynthesis. Sunlight is transformed to energy stored in the form of chemical bonds. And below given photographs are of the plants, algae as well as cyanobacteria. Now let me discuss some basics of photosynthesis. Quick thing particularly. So does photosynthesis create energy, use energy, or store energy, or release energy? Okay, it's simple. Does not create energy. Yes, it uses energy. It uses energy ATP, from ATP as from light as well. Store energy. Yes, we are going to store energy in the form of carbohydrates. Do they release energy? No, they do not release energy. Okay. Now true or false? Plants do photosynthesis but not cellular respiration. Is it true or false? Photosynthesis is plant's way of creating ATP for its cells. Is it true or false? Plants make sugar and other carbon compounds so that animal can eat. True or false? Okay. It will be false for the first one, where the plants do photosynthesis but not cellular respiration. It is false. And photosynthesis is a plant's way of creating ATP. False. It does not create ATP for plant cells. Okay, photosynthesis do not create ATPs, but does it make sugars and other carbon so that animals can eat? It produces sugar for its own, but it will be used for the animals. Okay, for heterotrophs. Now, what is a photosynthesis process? Is it endergonic or exergonic? It is 100% endergonic process. It's a 100% endergonic process. Okay, and photosynthesis is endergonic because energy is consumed by the process, or energy is given by the process, or energy is made by the process. As you all know, energy will be consumed. Okay, it's an endergonic, but some of the energy is also made by the process. Okay, some of the energy is also made by the process. And remember, this simple reaction of photosynthesis where light acts as an energy input, and in the presence of carbon dioxide and water, glucose is produced and oxygen is released. Okay, glucose is produced and oxygen is released. This is a generalized reaction of a photosynthesis. Okay, where light will act as an energy and which will lead to photolysis of water producing oxygen. Carbon dioxide will be converted into glucose. Where does photosynthesis takes place? It takes place in plants, as you all know, because they are autotrophs. Through a process called photosynthesis, and mainly occurs in the leaves, in stoma pores. Okay, this one are stomata, and this one are the guard cells. Okay, guard cells, and this one is a mesophyll cells. Okay, this is a section of a leaf, and this one are the mesophyll cells. Okay, so as you all know, uptake of water as well as release of oxygen, etc., occurs especially through the stomata. Okay, guard cells in the closed condition, guard cells in the open condition. It's just for your information, you may have studied during your schooling. Okay, now this is a 3D view of the plant cell, and this is a diagram of a chloroplast. Okay, this is a diagram of a chloroplast. Okay, so stomata, what does they do? Okay, pores in a plant's cuticle through which water vapor and gases such as carbon dioxide are exchanged between the plant and the atmosphere. At a point, carbon dioxide will enter stoma, and also at a time oxygen will be also released using stoma, and these are found on the underside of the leaves, not on the upper side. Okay, these are found on the underside of the leaves. Now mesophyll cell of a leaf. Okay, the cell wall, central vacuole, these are chloroplast, and this one is a nucleus. Chloroplast, central vacuole. Okay, and this is a cell wall, and this is cell wall, and this is 3D diagram of a plant cell again. Okay, organelle where the photosynthesis takes place, as you already know, it is a chloroplast. Okay, it contains an outer membrane, inner membrane, and this one is a stroma. Okay, where dark reactions takes place. This one is a thylakoid where the light reactions takes place. Okay, as you all know, photosynthesis is divided in two parts, light and a dark phase. And thylakoids stacks are connected with each other. And further into the thylakoid, okay, this whole thylakoid which are stacked together are known as granum. And this one is known as thylakoid membrane. The inner part here is known as thylakoid space. Okay, and the grana as a whole make up inner membrane. Now, some basics regarding the plants. Why are the plants green? Okay, why are the plants green? Because some of the reasons is the presence of chlorophyll molecules. Okay, and chlorophyll molecules are located in thylakoid membranes, and the chlorophyll molecule have Mg magnesium ion in the center. Okay, a chlorophyll pigments get harvest energy in the form of photons from the light by absorbing certain wavelengths, such as blue at 420 nanometer and red 660 nanometer, which are important for the plant growth. And the plants are green because green wavelength is reflected, not absorbed. Okay, plants are green because the green wavelength is reflected, not absorbed. Now, this one is a structure of a chlorophyll A. Okay, as I told you in the early slide, that it contains a magnesium ion in the center of the chlorophyll. Okay, you need to remember the structure of a chlorophyll. Okay, you need to remember structure of a chlorophyll. It contains how many rings? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. About 9 rings. Okay, and it is connected with a phyto. It is connected with a phyto. Now, moving forward with the wavelength of light. Okay, this is an electromagnetic spectrum which contains radio waves, microwaves, infrared ones, visible region, ultraviolet rays, X-rays, and gamma rays. Okay, radio waves have the maximum wavelength. Okay, now visible range, which comes in the range of from 4000 to 8000 angstrom or 400 to 800 nanometer. Okay, now I'm enlarging the spectrum of visible light. Okay, where these have more energy and these ones have less energy. Okay, so how does chlorophyll absorb light? Okay, how does chlorophyll absorb light? Okay, as I told you earlier, the chloroplast basically absorbs mostly blue light and red light. Okay, now you can see clearly the absorption spectrum. You can see clearly the absorption spectrum. The peak is at blue. The maximum absorbance of the light is of blue spectrum. Okay, and green, you can see it is very low. Okay, very low amount of green light is absorbed. As I told you earlier also, it is due to they reflect the green light. They reflect the green light. And the another peak where the light is absorbed is a red one. It's a red one. Okay, but one more thing to remember, there are different types of plant absorb different types of colored spectrums at different stages of their lifespan also. Okay, different stages of lifespan also. Okay, for example, during the phase of germination, they may use different types of light spectrum. When they age, okay, when they grow up into a plant, they may absorb some different type of light spectrum, but mostly it is a blue or a red ones. Okay, mostly it is blue or a red ones. There are some specific other pigments which can absorb orange ones also, such as in the case of carotenoids also. Okay, now during the fall, okay, when there is a fall season such as winter season, okay, you may see that some of the color of the green chlorophyll gets greatly reduced. Okay, gets greatly reduced. Okay, and some of the carotenoid pigments, okay, which are either red or yellow, can be seen easily. Okay, can be seen easily. Okay, so now the X-ray spectrum. Now the X-ray spectrum. This shows the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, this graph shows the rate of photosynthesis. You can see clearly at the violet blue ones, the X-ray spectrum is very high, as well as in the case of orange and red spectrum, photosynthesis rate is very high. Okay, photosynthesis rate is very high. Whereas in the case of green yellow spectrum, the photosynthesis rate is very low. Okay, photosynthesis rate is very low. Remember, this is an X-ray spectrum, not absorption spectrum. Okay, this is an X-ray spectrum. Now, the absorption spectrum. This shows the absorbance of a light by photosynthetic pigments at various light conditions. Okay, now these are the absorption. One is a rate of photosynthesis, and another one is the absorption of light. Another one is the absorption of a light. You can see clearly colored graph where you can see different type of light which will be absorbed. Okay, which will be absorbed in the process. Okay, and now these are the different types of pigments which are present in the plant and absorb different types of spectrums, which are absorbed at different types of spectrums. So chlorophyll A, okay, it is around 480 nanometers, B around 500, carotenoids around different points. Next one is phycoerythrin, a phycobilin. It has a absorption spectrum around green. A phycocyanin, which has an absorption spectrum around the orange region. Chlorophyll B and A again, which have a absorption spectrum around red and orange region, around red and orange region. Okay, this is how photosynthesis works basically, and these are the pigments. There are also other pigments, okay, because there are also many various types of carotenoids present in different types of organisms. Plants contain different types of carotenoids. Okay, similarly, bacteria also possesses a different types of carotenoids, of which one of the different from all these pigments is a rhodopsin. It's a rhodopsin which is generally found in halophilic bacteria. Okay, which is different from these pigments. Now these are the structures of the chlorophyll. Okay, where chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B, this one, which contains a magnesium ion in the center. Okay, you can see A and B structures are almost similar, but there is a difference in where the groups are different. Okay, here in this case a methyl group, in this case a aldehyde group is present. In this case aldehyde group is present, and you can see the rest of the structures. Okay, now these structures are of different types of carotenoids. First one is beta carotene. Next one is a zeaxanthin. Third one is a vioxanthin. Next one is a neoxanthin, and the last one is lutein. Now you can see the structural differences here. The difference here, no OH group is not present, OH group is present here. Similarly, OH group is not present here, OH group is present here. Okay. Now xanthine, the difference between zeaxanthin, xanthine, oxygen is added here. Similarly, oxygen is also added here. Now neoxanthin, the chain becomes a shorter one. Okay, and the hydroxyl group is added as well as oxygen basically is transformed here, transferred here, and hydrogen basically is added, and finally lutein, OH is removed. Okay, are the differences of different types of carotenoids. Okay, these are only some examples. There are various other types of carotenoids which are also present in various types of living organisms. Okay, since are just some of the examples. There are many other examples of the carotenoids. Okay, if you want to remember the differences with various other chlorophylls also, you can remember easily. Okay, these are the structures of different types of chlorophyll. If you want to remember, very easy diagram to remember. Okay, where the R1, 2, 3 groups are basically divided. Okay, now these are the structures of chlorophylls found in plants as well as bacteria. Okay, these are the chlorophylls which are found in plants. These are the chlorophyll which are found in bacteria. Okay, but you can see clearly the structures both contain Mg ions, both contain, that is, magnesium ions. Both in the case of plant chlorophyll, it may be a plant chlorophyll or it may be a bacterial chlorophyll. Okay, all contains magnesium ions at the center of the ring in all the cases. Okay, in all the cases. You need not to remember this diagram, so don't worry about it. Okay, now what you need to remember practically, okay, is the differences. Okay, I have given this table in order it will be easy for you to remember. And now starting with the chlorophyll A. Now starting with the chlorophyll A. Okay, it is present in almost all of the organisms. Okay, and chlorophyll B, next one is chlorophyll B, and it is mostly found in plants. Next one, chlorophyll C1, it is found in algae, various types of algae. Similarly for chlorophyll C2 also, which is normally found in algae again. Next one is chlorophyll D, which is found in cyanobacteria. And the last one again, chlorophyll, is again found in cyanobacteria. Okay, now moving further. Now, as you all know, the chlorophyll are one of the most important molecule for the photosynthesis. Okay, both chlorophyll A and B can absorb light. Okay, and plays a unique role. Okay, all photosynthetic plants, algae and cyanobacteria contain chlorophyll A, whereas only plants and green algae contain chlorophyll B, along with a few types of cyanobacteria. Okay, because of the central role of chlorophyll A in photosynthesis, all pigments used in addition to chlorophyll A are known as accessory pigments, including other chlorophylls as well as other classes of pigments like carotenoids. Okay, and the use of accessory pigments allows a broader range of wavelengths to be absorbed, and thus more energy can be captured from the sunlight. Okay, and the next main group of molecules which can absorb light is a carotenoid, which that can absorb violet and blue green light. Okay, which can absorb violet and blue green light. Here brightly colored carotenoids, which are some of them are found in fruits also, such as red of tomato, also known as lycopene, zeaxanthin, yellow in the case of corn seeds, orange of a orange peel, such as beta carotene. In photosynthesis, carotenoids help to capture light, but they have an also important role in getting rid of excess light energy also. For example, when a leaf is exposed to a full sun, that is during the afternoon seasons, especially in the areas of tropics uh, and the equatorial regions, where plants receive very high amount of energy, also as well as in the desert regions. If that energy is not handled properly, it can damage the photosynthetic machinery also. Okay, it may damage the plant also. Okay, here carotenoids in chloroplast help to absorb the excess energy and dissipate it in the form of heat. Dissipate it in the form of heat. Okay. Now, what will be the fate of a light striking a leaf? Okay. About let's take an example. Let's take in sunlight, which basically is used as an energy source. Okay. Let's say this is an 100%. Of the 100%, 12% will be reflected. Around 12% will be reflected. 83% will be absorbed, which will be used in the photosynthesis, and rest 5% is transmitted, and the rest 5% is transmitted. Okay, so during the fall, what causes the leaves to change colors? Okay, what causes, what are the problems? Okay, in addition to chlorophyll, as I told you earlier also, there are pigments present. Okay, such as carotenoids. Okay, and these carotenoids can be of red, orange or yellow color. Okay, now do all plants have same action or absorption spectrum? Okay, no. Okay, no. Okay, and if there are various, if there is no change, then the plant would be of all same color in all regions, but it is not possible. Okay, there are different types of plants, and all plants have some different types of color variations according to the different types of accessory pigments present in the leaf. Okay, accessory pigments basically allow some plants to take advantage of the green wavelengths of light, and competitive advantage or an advantage in no light conditions such as underwater conditions. Okay, and some leaves, as I told you earlier also, have accessory pigments which cannot be normally be seen when chlorophyll is active, when the temperatures cool down and chlorophylls break down before the accessory pigments, leaving them to show off. Okay, now redox reactions. As you all know, photosynthesis, in the case of photosynthesis, both oxidation and reduction reactions occurs. So as a whole, photosynthesis is an redox reaction. How oxidation occurs and how reduction occurs. Okay, as you all know, oxidation reaction is a loss of electrons from the substance or gain oxygen So which is an oxidation reaction? Where conversion of water into oxygen is an oxidation reaction. It's an oxidation reaction. Okay, now which one is a reduction reaction? That is conversion of a carbon dioxide into glucose. Okay, now I am going to end my lecture today. Okay, everyone, please comment present sir, okay, for your attendance, and then join WebEx session of 8:40 a.m. for doubts. Okay, just comment present sir, do not comment your name. Okay, everyone, please join WebEx session of 8:40 a.m. okay, for the any doubt session. Second year students also, I'm not able to complete photosynthesis today. I'm going to complete photosynthesis tomorrow. So second year students of biotechnology will have to be present for tomorrow's lecture also. Okay, I am ending my YouTube live stream. Okay, please join WebEx session of 8:40 a.m.